All right, you guys, good evening. Again, this is Landa Jeray Morgan. I'm here with my beautiful co-host.
Hello, I'm Rotunda Morgan.
And you're tuned in to another episode of Living More with the Morgans. It's Tuesday night. And man, we got a good show tonight.
Yeah.
Because we had a great show last week.
It was so much fun.
We had a dope show last week, you guys. And if you didn't get a chance to check out last Tuesday's show for Valentine's Day, we had some special guests that we were online with, our very own spiritual parents, Dr. Sean and Prophetess Beverly Anike. They were in the building online with us on Living More with the Morgans. And so if you didn't check that out, you didn't get a chance to catch that from last week, be sure to go back and watch it on our Facebook page. You can also watch it from our YouTube channel at Living More with the Morgans. And we're going to have a good show for you guys because, you know, we still in the month of love, baby.
True.
We're still in the month of love, and we still, you know, we're trying to get that sexy love vibe. You know, we're talking about love all month, you guys, before. And then we're also talking about history. Black History Month. Got a shout out to Black History Month.
Yes.
And it's only befitting that Black History Month would be in the month of love. Now, everybody talks about, oh, well, February is the shortest month. Yeah, but you know what? It may be the shortest month of days, but it's still the month of love, man. And we celebrating Black history, Black culture, Black excellence in the month of love.
Yeah.
And right now you tuned in to Black Love. Ain't that right, baby? Ain't that right? Already. So you guys, thank you again so much. No. She be hitting me under the table. She hits me under the table and stuff. She be playing with my booty and stuff under the table, y'all. She do.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you do. And so, you guys, tonight's show, we've got a good one again. And we want you to tune in, share on your walls, let your people know.
Please share.
That we are live right now on Living More with the Morgans. And tonight's show is called What Love Isn't. Now, that sounds like a pretty, you know, crazy topic, crazy title, but what love isn't. And sometimes right now in our society, we have this idea of what we think love is, but we really want to come tonight on what love isn't. And I think that's important because right now, society is throwing us all kinds of different things and different signals and different imagery of what love is and what love is supposed to be.
Right.
And if you're not careful, and if you're not aware, if you're not cognizant of what real love is supposed to look like, you'll take what you see on television, you'll take what you see in the movies, you'll take what's going on in society right now on social media and so forth, and you'll start to think that, hey, this is what love is. This is what love looks like.
Right.
And so I wanted to come to you guys tonight with this idea because I was sharing it with my wife, and I said, you know, we were in the car just kind of tossing some ideas around, and I said, well, babe, you know, let's talk about what love isn't.
Yeah.
You know, we always talk about what love is, but what isn't it? And there are some negative aspects that we're seeing in relationships.
Yes,
There's some negative things that we're seeing in society. There's some negative things that we're seeing in our marriages that they can't be love.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, people are tolerating and settling for things that are not true love, things that are not displaying and showing love to one another. And we're going to talk about that in the aspect of societal issues. We're going to talk about this in the aspect of marriages and relationships, and then also us among one another.
Right.
Particularly those, you know, in the faith-based community, Christians, Muslims, whatever. Where is the love? And we can definitely see where love isn't, or what love isn't, because I think about that scripture when it says love is patient, love is kind, love is not boastful, love is not prideful and different things like that. But it's not puffed up. It's not proud. And the thing of it is that we're seeing that.
Right.
In our society today, we're seeing love being portrayed as all these things that scripturally whether you're a believer or not, or you ascribe to another religion or religious idea, you have to admit that what we're seeing today is not a great portrayal of what love is.
It's not a great representation of it at all. No, it really isn't. You know, you said something. I know we're going to do it in segments, but, you know, love is patient. Love is kind. And we live in a society now that people are not kind anymore.
Right.
There's no kindness. People are so about self, about their agenda, about looking at what, you know, Hollywood and the stars and the music industry tell you that, you know, it should look like. We are inundated, unfortunately, with all of these ideas, like you said, that are thrown at us of what love is.
Right.
And it is not, you know, it's not selfish, and it is kind. And, you know, you can't even, I tell you this all the time, even for me to just go out to the grocery store or go to, you know, the shopping malls or whatever, people are so mean, can be so mean. You can accidentally bump into someone, step on their shoe, and they're almost ready to either fight you or you know, curse you out. And, you know, I tell you all the time, I do not like going out anymore. I used to love going grocery shopping, just, you know, buy things for the house. I love that because I love to cook. But I have to literally pray before in the car. Sometimes you'll see me still sitting there. I'm praying before I get to the grocery store because it's frustrating. You know, even especially among my color, my people, we began to be so mean and so hateful towards one another.
Wow.
Where is the love for real? We've been through so much as a people, and we have lost that love, that connection with one another.
Wow.
Because we're so busy chasing money, chasing some man, chasing some woman, trying to look like a Barbie doll, or trying to look like what society tells us, especially us as women. Like I was saying last time, getting all this stuff done to ourselves, especially women of color, BBLs, lip jobs, you know, facelifts. We so consumed with that. And that, to me, this is just to me, and you guys give us feedback, that's the enemy.
And that's exactly what love isn't.
That's exactly what it's not.
You mashed in so many points within that statement, right?
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. Because there was a lot of nuggets in just that opening statement that you had.
Yes.
But I want to kind of dissect some of that and pick that apart, because one of the things that you mentioned was the love for self, in that we've allowed, particularly us as African Americans, we've allowed the world, society, to tell us what is beautiful. And we've been doing that, particularly here in America, we've been allowing that for decades, way too long.
Too long.
And now the rest of the world is getting in on it, where now you see black women in Africa buying skin bleaching products.
We literally saw
we literally saw this in Nigeria,
Yeah.
where beautiful dark-skinned sisters were getting skin bleaching products to lighten their skin.
Right.
You know, and here's the thing, and we're going to take our time with this topic tonight because it's loaded. We got to really dig in on different aspects of what love is and what love isn't. And when we talk about self-image, and I brought up that example about our black sisters and our Nigerian sisters in Africa, what we're seeing even more prevalent now than when it was just 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, before our time, is we're seeing that the world's portrayal of what beauty is, a European outlook on what beauty is now being more infused, even more so in our culture today as African Americans. And I remember when sisters used to get dogged out and talked about because they had thick lips. You dig what I'm saying?
Yes.
It was, and here's the thing. This isn't a show that denigrates race and pits white folks against black folks. So this is not that kind of show. This is not what we're here for, but we're giving history so we can give perspective. I can remember when much of the white culture, not all, but much of the white culture would really frown upon black women's natural body features. Again, with the thick lips, the high cheekbones, the big, the big behinds, the big waist, the thick waist and everything, the thick legs and everything. That was really frowned upon because, again, the portrayal of beauty was skinny, thin, white, pale skin, long hair, blue eyes. That was, the all-American girl was blonde hair or strawberry blonde, blue eyes, white girl, thin, 5'5", right? And so a lot of our culture for years has been centered around this idea of what beauty is. And so now we're seeing it even more prevalent amongst black women and black and brown women in particular, because like you said, I'm seeing sisters jumping out, getting the skin bleached, getting their butts injected, getting their lips pumped up. And again, white women was frowning on this just 10, 15, 20 years ago. You weren't seeing this on mainstream media. You weren't seeing this on mainstream television.
Yeah, you remember Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Yeah. Baby Got Back.
Baby Got Back.
And in the beginning of the song, the beginning of the video,
remember that song, guys?
You see the two white girls looking at this sister's behind.
Yeah.
And they're saying, "Oh, Becky, look at her butt. It is so big. It looks nasty and big and plump." But here today, what has happened?
Right.
The okie doke has happened to where the white women and women of different cultures are going out, getting the collagen put in their lips, getting the plumped up lips and everything, getting the bigger breasts and everything, getting the bigger behinds, the BBLs, all that different stuff. And they've now put it back out there that, oh, this is sexy. Oh, so now thickness is sexy. Now thickness and tanned skin. They go and get the tans at the tanning salon, spend 8 hours in a tanning salon with a fake butt, fake lips, fake breasts. And now they put it back out there as, oh, no, this is the new sexy. This is the new beautiful.
Right.
And the problem with that is that if you don't love yourself enough, if you don't know what love is, then you'll ascribe to what love isn't. And what love isn't is saying, oh, I'm not good enough, and now I've got to assimilate.
Right.
Now I've got to morph into the world's idea of what beauty is.
Right.
Now it's, oh, I need a bigger butt.
Right.
Because social media is telling me I need to.
Yes. Yeah.
I call it the Kardashian effect. When the Kardashians came on the scene, it's like they changed the game in so many negative ways. And this is not a slight to the Kardashians directly.
No.
But there are some negative aspects of life and negative thinking that they brought into the culture that was easily influential. And so that's what love isn't. Love is going to say, you know what? I love what I look like in the mirror. I love what God gave me. I love the lips that he gave me. I love the butt. And here's the thing. We're seeing women to the point to where they're going out getting BBLs. And if you don't know what that is, that's a Brazilian butt lift. And they're going out and getting butt injections and all this different stuff. And they go into these foreign countries, getting them done cheaply. And some of them ain't living. You got women that are passing away, black women.
Right.
And I'm a black man, and I'm sitting here seeing this, and I'm saying, what the hell is going on?
We talked about this last week. We talked about this. It's dangerous. It's dangerous because God, like you said, God has already formed us. If you want to enhance it, or you want a bigger butt with your body frame, I tell women all the time. All the time. It's easy. It's not easy, but it's better. It's easier than that. Go to the gym, you guys. Squats. All of these kind of things will help you to have, if you're so interested in having a bigger behind, that will help you get that bigger behind. But going to get these injections and getting these things done to your body, that's what love isn't. If you don't love who you are, You will fall for whatever somebody tells you the look of love should be. We have to love ourselves. And like I was saying earlier, even in that, we don't love ourselves and we don't love each other. Love is patient and kind. We're not kind. That's what I was talking about earlier. It is so hard to go out to the grocery stores now. We are frowning. We look like we're mad. We dress any kind of way at times. You see people out in pajamas. I was growing up, we never wore our inside clothes outside.
Right.
People are getting these ugly pajamas, wearing them outside, these little big bonnets on our heads. What happened to us? What happened to the dignity and that we were taught? What happened to that? Why did we lose that? When we go out, we have to be presentable. You don't know who you will encounter. You don't know what that day will bring. But at the same point in time, who are we representing when we go out? Right. Even if you don't know who God is, you have a family. You have a family that you represent. So where is the love? What happened to, us and other people? People in general. We have fallen for just anything now.
I think, society has painted this picture that, keep it real, be you, do you, boo, do your thing, keep it real. And the thing about that is I'm all for doing your own thing.
All for it.
I'm all for that. I'm all for doing your own thing. I'm all for being your own person. But like you said, there's this dismissal of integrity and dignity that we used to have, particularly as African Americans. We used to have that. We used to see the love in our communities. We call it a village.
I had it. I
right?
grew up with it.
You
yes.
grew up with it.
Yes.
And so back in the day, your mom would straighten you up, or an adult would straighten you up and say, you're not going out the house like that.
Right.
You're not going out the house with any kind of head, anything on your head. You're not going out the house
yes.
with your face looking, all tore up or whatever, or smelling any kind of way or whatever.
Right.
There was this, and there was this authority, and you respected the authority.
Yes.
Why? Because you knew that it was instilling in you values. You may have, and as a kid, you may have walked away and kind of stomped away and, oh, mom, okay, well, but when you went and did it, and you grew up understanding that it was teaching me how to be an adult, how
right.
to carry myself, how to have dignity. And we are missing those values now.
And you better not say anything to someone's child if you
not nowadays.
Oh, not nowadays.
Yeah.
If their pants hanging low or they're not looking presentable, and older folks say something to them, baby, you shouldn't have dressed like that. Think about it and
right.
be presentable. You can't say that anymore. You say that now, they're gonna go home and tell their parent. They're gonna try to come and fight you or,
right.
or get mad at you. You can't do that anymore.
But if you guys look at this in a spiritual way. Look at this in a spiritual aspect.
Right.
Think of it this way. If you look at what society was doing here past 5-10 years, right. you saw this movement of the natural beauty thing.
Right.
Particularly for African American women.
Yes.
You saw that starting to gain some steam.
Right.
And people were really on it, even manufacturers, even big labels and big clothing lines and hair care products and skin products. They were all getting in on the natural beauty of a woman.
Right.
Wearing the natural hair, being organic, bringing that at the forefront. But if you see it in the spiritual, while that's coming up, BBLs is coming up. Butt lifts and injections, skin bleaching. While David is coming up, Goliath is coming up too.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
You dig what
Great
I'm saying?
Point. Yeah.
They both growing up at the same time.
Right.
One may be older than the other. The negative is older than this positive here.
Right.
because that negative has been brewing and scheming and conniving for so long that all it is waiting for the opportunity to pounce on the good and the positive that's coming out.
Absolutely.
So that people will dismiss the positive and latch onto all this negativity, and that's what we're seeing.
Right.
And so right now you've got a tug of war in the spirit.
Right.
You've got a fight, and it's a fight for the love in the hearts of people. Because if that sister don't love herself, if she looks in the mirror and even if she's going natural now, even if she's doing the organic thing, if she still looks in the mirror and says, you know what, I went natural and I still don't love me. I had the weave and I still don't love me. I had the creamy crack and the perm and the relaxer and I still don't love me. Then guess what's going to win? All of that negative is pushing out the positive. And so we have to be mindful of this. And I say this because what love isn't, it's not looking at yourself and saying, oh, I've got to conform with the trends.
Right.
I got to conform with what's popular.
Right.
Love says, I don't care what they're doing.
Right.
When I look in the mirror, I see the God in me.
Right.
I see the warrior in me. I see the queen in me. I see we're going around now all day long, you know, calling each other, what's up, king? What's up, queen? What's up, king? What's up, queen? But like you said, if I can't tell you, young man, to pull your pants up and you get mad, but you want me to address you as a king.
Right.
Or I see the sisters now, they want me to call them queen, but you cussing like a dude. You cussing like a sailor.
You guys have to, if you want to be called kings and queens, you have to live up to that. Go back and look at your ancestors. Look at those people. Look at how they dressed. Look at how they greeted one another. Look at how they helped one another. If you really want to know what a king and a queen is, and you want to be called that, then go back and study your history.
Right. Right.
That will show you. If you look at the Martin Luther Kings, yes, you look at those people, but you can say, oh, well, that was back in the day. It doesn't matter. Look at how they carried themselves. If you want to be called that, you have to walk in that. You have to walk according to that.
Dignity will never go out of style.
Dignity will never go out of style. Right. I'm so glad. Let me say this. Yeah. You're a millennial. And I'm a Gen X. I am so grateful that I didn't meet you with doing that. Pants hanging down low, hanging off, overly baggy, not presentable. I met this is a millennial. And he did not do that. Why? First of all, because he was raised well. Second of all, is because of the community and the village he was around. He went to the School of Performing Arts. You weren't going to dress any kind of way. So you have to have people around you that tell you the truth in love. Right. And that will help you to understand and see who you are. This is who when we want to call each other kings and queens, this is what we are about. And to go back to what you were saying earlier about all this outward appearance, yes, it means nothing if you don't love yourself. Right. And loving yourself is the most important thing, because when you love yourself on the inside, it comes out on the out. Right. It comes out on the outside.
I'm glad you said that, because one of the most ugliest things. Let me hip you ladies to something that we fellas. Let me give you a tip. If a man sees you at a bar, at a club, at a restaurant, or whatever. And you looking good. I mean, you got on your freakum dress, right? You got on your heel, the freakum dress, you know. You know, you looking good. Things is bang, boom, pow. You got on your heels. You know, the feet is out, the toes is done. I mean, you smelling good. If a brother checking you out, the ugliest thing on you is how, as when you open your mouth and how you reject him if you're not interested. That will instantly make you ugly. It's a way to tell a brother I'm not interested without making yourself look ugly.
I got something to say about that.
You did?
Go ahead. Yeah, I do.
There's a way to do it.
Right.
And so
there is.
Even though you have the quote unquote power in that situation where you can control that narrative on which way it's going to go, ladies, you can be all dressed up. You can look all good. You got the $500 wig on or the weave on, and you killing it. You killing it, and you know you bad, right? But if you open that mouth, or them bodily gestures are ugly, then you just stamped ugly on your forehead.
Right.
You did it, not the brother coming to talk to you. You did that to you.
Right.
And so, the reason why I'm even saying that is because beauty starts with the love of self first.
Yes, it does.
You dig what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Let me give you your flowers and hold your thought. I don't want you to lose your thought. Let me give my wife her flowers. What you see with her is what you get. Period. My wife don't go out the house any kind of way. I remember years before I met my wife, I wrote down in a four-page letter, a 4-page list on what I wanted in a wife, and I was writing this to God. And you haven't seen the list, but I wrote on that I wanted a wife who takes care of her body and that is physically fit. My wife is 13 years older than me. I'm 42, she'll be 55 this year. Nobody would know that unless they were told that. Now, why do I say that? Because she is the exact thing that I prayed for when I asked for a woman that would take care of her health and take care of herself. The sister's in the gym 4 times a week. She eats healthy. When she leaves this house, she represents not only her and her family and her upbringing from her parents, but she represents my last name. She represents Morgan. And she represents us as a unit, as a covenant unit. And then she represents her Heavenly Father.
Yes.
So when above all that, above everything else, she represents the fact that she's the king's daughter.
Yeah.
We don't have that. We're not seeing that integrity and that love for self anymore. And so when I see you get dressed and you're modest with it, you got the bang boom pow. You got it everywhere. You dig what I'm saying? And I'm just being I'm being honest, and I'm not trying to be vulgar. My wife got all that, but she ain't got to show that. Because the inside of her knows what she has. And she don't need no man telling her, oh, girl, you fine. She gets that anyway. She gets niggas trying to hit her in her inbox. Yeah, I said niggas. Yeah. She get niggas trying to hit her in the inbox trying to bump. Why? Because of who she is. Because of how beautiful she is. And she ain't got to show everything. Why? Because her radiance, it starts on the inside first and it comes out. So when she opens her mouth, she attracts people with love. She attracts people. People love her hugs. People love having conversations. I mean, random folks, every country we've traveled to, random folks would just come up to her and just start talking and just spewing their lives out and just loving on her. Why? Because she gives that out. Okay. It's not a front. It's not, oh, I'm trying to be something that I'm not. No, it's the God in her that's coming out. You see the outside and you see the makeup and you see the beauty and the clothes and all that stuff, and that's cool. You should dress how you feel. But if you feel like crap on the inside, when you open your mouth, I don't care how much Gucci, I don't care what kind of GG belt you got on. I don't care what kind of Louis Vuitton or Christian Louis Vuitton shoes you got on. When you open your mouth or you make some kind of gesture, it better be some love in there, because if not, you are showing the world instant ugly. And that's just what it is. And our society is okay with that.
Yeah.
Our society is giving that a thumbs up. Oh, keep it real, y'all. Keep it real, girl. No, that's not keeping it real.
No, that's not love.
That's not love.
No.
That's not loving yourself. That's not loving, your people.
You know what? And you're right. And I appreciate what you just said. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that so much. That means a lot. I wanted to go back to what you said about ladies when you open your mouth and when you say something to a man. Let me say this to you. I don't believe in tearing anyone down. Before I met my husband, in between divorces, I was actually not with my ex-husband for over 6 years before me and him met. But there was a young man that was before my husband that liked me a lot. And we tried to date a little bit, but I was so focused, Essence, our daughter, and just making sure that I get her through that time, and focused on myself.
Right.
And I remember talking to him, and he was such a nice young man, and he was around a little bit younger than me. And I remember, he talking to me, and he really pushed it, and I would tell him, I said, let's just stay friends, let's see where this goes, Ended up, I prayed about it, and God was showing me this is not him.
Right.
Well, he ended up wanting to propose to me, and I'll never forget it. He ended up buying the ring and everything. And I sat him down and I talked to him, and I told him, I said, I would never lead you on, and I didn't.
Right.
But I told him, I said, I prayed about this, and I don't think this is we're the right fit for one another.
Right.
When I tell you he's a great man, whoever he's married to right now, I won't mention his name, they are blessed because he's a wonderful man. He loved me. He loved my daughter.
Right.
But I did not tear him down when I had a young man that was interested in me.
Yep.
Right. And how, I had to tell him that, literally that I was not interested, but not in a way that was degrading, not in a way that would tear him down as a man.
Yes.
And I want to say this to us as women. If there is a man that approach you, he might come and say something like, hey, what's up, shorty? Or, hey, good looking, or whatever. Just say, hi, how are you? But do not say, what do you want? Or just be mean or unkind, because you guys, that's not love. We don't want to make anyone feel like they're bothering you,
okay,
or you're a pest or what have you. We always want to make sure that we are doing things in love. And that means if I have to tell you I'm not interested,
right,
that's it. You go ahead and say have a good day and you walk away.
And that's so respectable. And that's
you have to be, because you have to, the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
But
that's what love is.
That's what love is.
Love is saying, how would I want to be treated in that situation?
Right.
That's what love is. Love thinks about, well, how I'm dishing it is how I want to get it back. You dig? And so I love the fact that you did this, and you told me about that. Yeah. And like I was saying to the ladies earlier, it's like there's a way that you can let a brother down, or you can say I'm not interested without coming across as negative and ugly.
Right.
Because again, it's about the love that you have in you.
It's about that.
Right?
Yeah.
If somebody offers me,
if you have it, you're gonna show it.
Right. If somebody offers me a drink of water and I'm not thirsty, I'm not gonna be like, nah, get that water out of my face. No, I'm just gonna say, no, thank you, I'm good right now.
Right.
I appreciate the offer.
Right.
Why is that so hard for us today?
It's not.
Because quote unquote keeping it real is keeping it ugly and negative,
no,
and keeping it, raw and raunchy and we
go through so much in society, and sometimes we as people are in our lives, and we don't realize that all the things that we've gone through, it could be from childhood on all the way to adulthood.
Right.
We carry that, and we begin to be angry and bitter. And we lose sight of ourselves so much until all of that's inside of us, we show that negativity on the outside.
Right.
So when we don't, sometimes we're not aware of that. We're not aware that we're being negative. We've made it such a custom to be irritated, frustrated, mad, angry, and we don't understand that it comes out. Just like you said, you tell someone say you want a drink of water, and you're like, I don't want that. Sometimes you're short and you don't realize you're short because all this baggage and all this stuff you're carrying, it comes out. And so we have to be mindful of that. We got to watch that, and we got to look at ourselves. Sometimes we're good at looking at everybody else's wrong. Even the Bible talks about that, babe.
Wow.
We talk about the speck in someone else's eye when we have a log in ours. We won't look at ourselves.
Right.
And literally, we know who we are. But we're carrying baggage. We're carrying things from childhood. We're carrying things that has happened to us in our lives. And we're not loving and we're not kind because of what we've gone through. I'm asking all of us, not just you guys as in the audience, but us as well. Make sure we check ourselves. Make sure we look at ourselves and we don't begin to carry all of this negative baggage. We look at ourselves and say, wait a minute, this might be an issue. This might be something we need to address in ourselves. Because we don't want to come off. We don't know who we're going to meet. We might be that last resort for someone who's getting ready to take their life. My God, we have to watch our mouths. We have to watch it because we don't know in the society we live in now, suicide is on an all-time high. You say the wrong thing, a little wrong thing to someone, or you might a gesture. You don't know. They might go and say, I'm done. That might be the last thing. I remember seeing a video on Facebook of a young man who was getting ready to jump off the bridge. Police officer was there. His parents were called. He was done. He was a young guy. And we got older people doing it too. He was getting ready to jump off the bridge. The officer slowly walked up behind him and grabbed him and pulled him back. He cried and cried and cried. We have a responsibility that someone else is going through something. If we're going through something, go and take care of yourself, but don't allow yourself to be around people. And when you know that somebody in that crowd or somebody that's in your circle, that might be that day you said a wrong thing, or you do the wrong thing, and they're done. Please remember that.
And their blood will be on our hands.
And
we have to be mindful.
We have to be.
And I'm gonna say this, because I want to say this to my saved folk. My supposed to be saved Christian folk. We've heard this cliche or this adage that people say, your life may be the only Bible that people read.
It is the
truth. That is the absolute truth.
It's the absolute truth.
That is the absolute truth. You can profess Jesus all day long. You can confess Jesus all day long. And you can say, oh, I'm a man of God, and you got more titles and more degrees in the thermometer, and you've been to seminary for 50 years, and you're an apostle and a prophet and a prelate, superintendent, whatever. Whatever is out there, you're it. But if you don't have love,
it profits you nothing.
It profits you nothing. If you can't exude love in how you engage with people, then you're not approachable. You're not relatable. I love, there's a passage in scripture that I break down to people. And it was Jesus with his disciples, and all the kids were coming around him.
I remember it.
And the disciples were trying to keep the kids off of Jesus. And Jesus, and I love to paraphrase him in my own way. You can go and study it your own way. But he said something that he was like, yo, I mean, what y'all tripping for? No, let the kids come unto me. Y'all might not be able to speak their language. Y'all might be ornery and old, but I'm not. And we said, and here's the thing. We forget that Jesus was in his 30s. Jesus was not a 60-year-old, 70-year-old, 80-year-old cat. The man was in his 30s. How do you think he talked? He talked like a 30-year-old.
He did.
He would be a millennial today. So our greatest example of love that we have, do we show the love that he showed?
That's right.
Or are we showing what love isn't? Are we saying, oh, I ain't got time for y'all? Or nah, I'm cool, I'm good. Or no, I'm keeping it real, I'm keeping it hood, I'm keeping it trill. What are we doing?
Especially us in the church. We have to be mindful of that. that we, you know, if we say we love and we're about Christ, we know God is love. We have to make sure that we show that.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you something. People can see that if you really carry love, if you really operate in love, people can see that a mile away.
Right.
You guys, how we talk to one another, and we're going to get into marriage too.
Right.
But how we talk to one another, how we relate to one another, we have to be mindful of that. That if we're going to say that we're about God and we're about Christ, that has to be, like you said, no, a lot of people are not going to see the Bible. They're not going to open the Bible. But we are. We're reading our lives.
Right.
We know that to be true. We have had people come up to us around the world to say how nice and something about you guys. There's something about you guys. We, you know, there are people that are drawn to us.
Right.
Because why? You have to have that love. If you're really about God, that means you have to deny yourself. When you deny yourself, God will fill you with his love.
Right. Right.
And when he fills you with his love, my goodness, the things that will come to you, the things that God has for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just to make sure that you guys can still hear us and everything is coming across correct on our end. We're still having some technical issues and some glitches over here, but we just want to make sure that you guys can hear us loud and clear.
Yes.
And give us a second, you guys. We're connecting. Okay, and I think we're still back on. Awesome. Okay. All right, so again, the life that people will read, the book, the Bible that people will read will be our lives.
That's right.
And can I say this, honey? They don't care what your title is.
No.
They don't care that you're an apostle. They don't care that you're a prophet. And I'm talking to my church people, my saved people. They don't care. If you don't show love, if you're not kind. I've seen some of the meanest people with the most highest titles. You prophet such and such, you've been on TBN, you've been on Daystar, and you can tell people their social security numbers and what color drawers they got on. But you so mean. And you are showing what love isn't.
That diminishes your light.
That diminishes your light totally. You're so mean. You're so condescending.
Right.
I'm seeing people, they jump on Facebook. And I want to say this. Here recently we had the Grammys.
Right.
And a lot of people in the faith-based people in the church were making a big deal about Beyonce and the Grammys and all this. You know, and Rihanna and all. Here's the thing. The world they've been doing what they do. When are we going to do what we need to do? When we gonna do? And so what I was seeing was people take to Facebook and going live and just throwing Beyonce under the bus and throwing Rihanna under the bus and doing it and all these worldly folk and these and I'm seeing this and they just going off and I mean just clowning and they demonic and they filled with demons and What good is it doing the body of Christ and what good is it doing them where you get on Facebook or your social media platform and get amens from your amen corner talking about how evil Beyonce is or how evil Rihanna is or how evil the Grammys are? What does that do? Is that us showing our light in the midst of darkness? No. What some people don't understand is that some of us have been equipped with enough love and Holy Ghost to actually go into the Grammys and witness to them people and witness to the Rihannas, witness to the Beyoncés. While some of us are sitting here typing and being keyboard warriors and going off on them, what kind of love is that showing?
That's not love.
That's not that you're showing us what love isn't.
That's not love.
And so how are we going to win? How are we going to witness and win people and show the love of God to people if every time we see something like that rise up, we want to quickly go to our amen corner to see who's going to agree with us and see how many hearts and likes we're going to get from our Facebook page because we know misery loves company. Let me say it that way.
He who is without sin.
Cast the first stone.
Cast the first stone.
So if you're without sin, if you don't have a rap sheet, then go ahead and cast that stone.
We all have done things in our lives that we know is that God saved us from that. But God, once he saved us, what are we supposed to do? Go back and reach back and get those.
Right.
That bring them to him. Not to judge them and to talk about them. And you're right. Hollywood is Hollywood, you guys.
Right. They've been on this.
We keep talking about we want prophets in the government. We want prophets in this place. We want people on the inside. Okay, if you want that, then you guys, you have to allow those who God sent to be able to do that. Let me just say that.
Go ahead.
It's just like with our pastor, Bishop.
Yeah.
Bishop, he got the Tamar Braxton. He's got all these different people around him. Why do you think that is? Because he can't only just be in the pulpit preaching, you guys. If we're going to keep preaching this amongst one another and we're not going out, then we're not doing our part. Right. We're stationary. Ain't nobody doing no missionary work. Right. We are so big on talking about what someone else is doing or not doing. What are we doing? It is our responsibility to show the love, not go bash them up across the head. Right. We don't know Beyonce. We only know what they put in the newspaper. We don't know Jay-Z. We only know what they put in the newspaper. We don't know. Beyonce grew up in church.
Right. Right.
You got a lot of them out there that grew up in church. God gave them a gift.
Right.
Now, sometimes the gift can be tainted.
Right.
We just like what we know about Prince. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can get the wrong people around you. Right. That's why they have to have the right people around them. God sent a lot of us out there to do that job, to be around them, to be in that kind of life.
But if you don't know that, world or that life,
if you don't know that, right,
then you don't know that they need God just as much as you do or did.
Right.
And the thing about that, and again, we bring up what love isn't because I was seeing this bashing, I was seeing this slander, and it's quiet on here, y'all. Don't get quiet on me. Don't get quiet now. It's quiet. But I was seeing this come from us.
Right.
From people of faith.
Right.
And people are making their videos and making, they post and everything. And I'm seeing all this vitriol going on. And I'm saying, where is the love? Why are so many people quick to cast stones when you got a rap sheet the length of Tennessee?
Right.
Because I know I do.
Right.
I know my rap sheet was thick. The only difference between a Beyonce, Rihanna, Jay-Z, all them is that they're in front of their rap sheet is in front of the camera.
In front of the camera.
Their stuff is being amplified on social media. My junk wasn't no social media when I was going through most of my junk. Thank God.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So we're talking about what love isn't in as far as society is concerned. We're going to get into marriage. Mm-hmm. But I gotta give this correction to my people, those who will take it, is that's not helping our cause. It's hurting. It doesn't make us look like we have the love of God. It don't make us look good, y'all. When we going around bashing and we quick to throw people under the bus and, oh, look at them over there and they've been doing this. Right. This is nothing new. The only difference is that you guys are seeing it now more prominently on media and social media and on television.
Right.
This been going on. Those of y'all who don't know the music industry, I do.
Yes.
I know the music industry. I know the gospel music industry.
Yeah.
If there's anybody you really want to be praying for, it's people it's your favorite gospel artists. Now, we're not going to go there. But if you really want to know the truth, you want to be praying for some of your favorite gospel artists. Why some of them in their 50s and 60s and not married?
I'll wait.
Have you ever asked yourself that question? Why you got grown men in their 50s and 60s ain't got a wife? Are you praying for them? Are you putting posts out there for them? No. You need to be showing them love too. Right. Regardless of what lifestyle they live, regardless of what they're going through, what they're doing, what we agree with, what we don't agree with, you need to be showing them the same love. So put your stones away.
Right.
Put your rocks away before you want to cast stones at people that first of all, when you writing that stuff and you spewing that stuff on social media, they're not there to hear it.
No.
So what correction are you giving?
They don't hear you.
They don't hear you.
They don't even know you.
They don't even know you. You know them.
Right.
They don't know you.
No.
So you're not giving no correction that they can hear. And you're not giving them, you show not giving them or showing them the love of God, because you want to sit there and spew this hate-filled stuff, and you're calling it, oh, well, I'm on fire for Jesus. And Jesus never needed us to be his police.
No, you guys.
I'm going to go there. But
No,
Jesus never needed us to be his security guards. He never needed us to be his spokespersons in that sense. Yes, you can defend the faith, but defend it with your love for one another. If I don't see love amongst one another, then I'm not hearing your Jesus.
Right. That bothers me.
Exactly.
Because you were talking about, and this is the truth. I've been in church all my life.
Right.
Since I was 5 years old that I can remember. I grew up in church, okay? I got aunts and uncles that were ministers. My parents, my dad's a deacon. I've been in church all my life. Mm-hmm. And I tell you the truth, I've seen some of the most wonderful people in my life that was loving and kind and caring. Yeah. But I've seen some of the most hateful, meanest, unfortunately, people I can ever imagine. And I look at them and I'm like, why have you not? It's just like I'm thinking about Elijah. Gifted. Why were you so mean? Mm-hmm. Died with a disease. Mm-hmm. You guys, why do you think that's in the word? Mm-hmm. It's in there for a reason.
Oh, no. Give them some history, because a lot of them don't know. Elisha,
right,
was the one who was the mentee
of Elijah.
Of Elijah the prophet.
Right.
So we all talk about how great and glorious Elijah was, and he was caught up in the chariots of fire and blah, 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 blah. Great man, great prophet.
Right.
Dude did some great stuff.
Right.
He had a predecessor and a mentee, Elisha. Mm-hmm. Now, nobody talks and preaches about Elisha. Mm-hmm. They talk about, oh, Lord, give me the double portion, and I got the double portion, and that's where we get that from.
Right.
The double portion was for Elisha. We have unlimited access.
We have unlimited.
But I'll go there later. We don't need a double portion when we have unlimited, when the water faucet is turned on and unlimited for us. Right. We don't need double. We got unlimited.
Right.
But I digress. Elisha was a prophet. Dude was accurate. Dude was on point, but he was angry. And he was mean. And he was ornery. Mm-hmm. And he's one of the few prophets. A lot of the prophets died, well, actually the disciples, they died very ugly deaths. Let me say it that way. But this prophet in the Old Testament, Elisha, died of a disease, died of an illness. Now, was it time for him to die? No, I don't believe so. Why? Because the Bible says that his bones raised up a dead man.
Right.
The body of a dead man was thrown on and touched Elisha's bones to the point to where that bad boy was raised back up. Now, why am I saying this? It's because he had power. He had God's anointing. He had all that.
That's exactly right.
But brother man was lacking something.
Yeah.
He was not able. He had a heart issue, and he was not able to show what love truly is.
Right.
He was showing people what love isn't. And so, you guys, we talk about society. Now let's get into marriage.
Yeah.
And let's get into relationships, because what we're seeing today is, in my opinion, a travesty. Right now, even in dating, if you're single, I'm seeing that spending money is a sign of showing love. The ladies are spending their money on the men. Oh, but I love him. Is it reciprocal? That's what you need to be asking yourself. Is that love reciprocal? Because love is reciprocal. Love is reciprocity. I give it, I get it back. When you're in a relationship, I give it, I get it back. I give it, I get it back. I show it, it's shown back to me. Love is not one-sided. It's not a one lane street here. And so we're seeing in a society that, again, it's a lot of people that are settling. Oh, I just want a man. Or I just want a husband. Oh man, I just want to hurry up and get married. I just want me a wife. But love isn't desperate.
No.
Love thinks through things.
Yes.
Love strategizes. Love is patient because you want love in return.
That's right.
Love wants genuine love back.
Right.
So it's patient enough to see the signs of what love isn't and say, that's not love, and that's not love, and that's not love. I'm going to be patient and wait until I see what actual love looks like coming back to me, what I'm giving out.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If it doesn't look like love, if it doesn't feel like love, it's probably not.
It's not. It's not a problem. It's not.
It's not. We're seeing it in relationships. With all these men. Oh, I love you, girl, but you go upside her head. Oh, I love you, girl, but you in the DMs of another a woman. Or you married and you in the inbox of another married woman. That's not love. And so we're settling, fam.
Yeah.
We're settling, and we're making these great compromises, and we're redefining what love is, not understanding that love says, I have eyes for her.
Right.
Love says, even when the temptation, because it's always there.
It's always there.
Even when the temptation for me to look another way comes, the love that I have for her is going to say, nope, she fine, but what I got back at home is 100 million times better. Love will bring me back home.
Right.
Love will keep me home. And so we got to really go back and start defining love, because we're seeing a lot of stuff in marriages and in relationships. And I'm talking about this in Christian marriages. How is it that we can be an example when 50 to 60% of our marriages are ended in a divorce? I'm talking about Christian marriages. And that's been a statistic for years now. For years. I remember hearing 50% back in like early 2000s when I was in high school. That they were saying, oh, well, 50% of Christian marriages ended in divorce. Man, okay, why has the number gone either up or remained the same? That should tell you something. That we are allowing society to redefine what love is. And it's not working.
And it's not.
It's not working.
No. Our marriages and our relationships are suffering because we're so busy looking at what society, or listening to what society says love should be. Right. And you're right. You know, again, I'll quote it again in Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind, love does not boast. If you really love someone, you will show it. You will be, love is, and I have to say this to my men, okay? Love is an action word. You said something earlier. If you're going upside her head, or you cursing your wife out, or your girlfriend, whoever out, and you're disrespecting them, you're talking down to them and talking crazy to them, that's not love, you guys.
No.
Because if it was, then they wouldn't feel like, oh, that hurt me, or that was something that I don't like. You cannot tell me that love is hurtful. It doesn't hurt. No. We all have our problems and our moments and our time, but we have to be big enough to say, hey, I'm sorry. You love this word you say, and it's so true. Repent, turn from that. Right. Whatever it is that will cause you, marriages are on the rocks, because, especially marriages that are in the kingdom marriages, right, because people will not take care of what's going on within themselves. Right. I want to keep this. This is who I am. So I'm not going to change. Right. Even if it's beneficial for that person or in the marriage, right, I'm not going to change. Well, if you're not going to change, then you're going to see more divorces. Right. You're going to see people live together but not really be together. I've seen that before. Yeah. Love is an action word. And if you are not showing it, you can speak it all day. But if you don't show it, it means nothing. Right. It's null and void. Null and void. Right. We have to stop saying it and not doing it. It both goes together.
You said something that was powerful, and I just want to reiterate it. And I'll put my little spin on it, if you will.
Sure.
Apologizing is not repenting.
No, it's not. It's not.
Apologizing and saying, baby, I'm sorry. But then going right back and going upside your head again, or cussing you out, or belittling you. Then I didn't repent. No. Repent means to turn away from it, to do a 180. Right. I'm not touching that behavior again.
Right.
I'm not doing that again.
Because, I mean, you know what it does, babe? I don't know about you guys, but I do not like my house to be disrupted with that kind of stuff. With strife and issues and problems that we can sit down and resolve. Right. That is love. When you love your partner, when you love the person that you're married to, you would do whatever it takes to make sure that your marriage is filled with bliss, love, communication, understanding. That is what God wants for us to have. We cannot continue to say, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to worry about it. Because what happens is when we do not deal with those issues, they become bigger issues. Right. They do not go away. They get bigger and they get worse. Right. I'm going to say this again to my men, and this is no slight to any man. But if you know you can change in some areas and your household can be better, why don't you do it? Right. I'm going to say the same to the women. If you know that you can change and some things need to change in you to make your marriage and your relationship with your husband better, why wouldn't you? My husband know me. I do everything I can to make sure my marriage and my household is at peace and joy. It is important to me. It's important to us. We are partners. And in fact, not only that, we work together. We have a whole lot of things that we have to make sure in our marriage that our relationship, our marriage is what it should be.
And let me be transparent here, because I want people to understand something. Again, there's an age difference, an age gap, and a generational gap between us.
It is.
It's 13 years. I'm a millennial, Gen X. 42, about to be 55.
Right.
Brought up with different values. Brought up with in a village. Two-parent home. Wasn't necessarily raised in church. Raised in church. Two-parent home. Saw issues in her parents' marriage. They were together, but apart, if you will. My parents, same way. Together, but sometimes heated in the household.
Yeah.
Tension, strife in the household.
Same here, yeah.
Saw love, just not always consistent. Okay. We have to understand that love has to be modeled. And what we want to see, what your children are seeing from you is what love is and what love isn't.
That's right.
And in your household, in your relationship with your spouse, if that love isn't genuine and continuous, then your children are absorbing that.
And if it's not real.
And if it's not real, exactly. Yeah. They're seeing the inconsistency and they're seeing the fraudulence that you're putting this front up, all in the name of love.
And babe, what he said was so true about both of our homes. We love our parents. We are wonderful parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we talked about this. We did not see a lot of that model in front of us at times. Right. And I know for me, I can't speak for my husband, but for me, it was important for me after coming out of a divorce and having that on my heart, you know, I wanted that to be, I wanted true love.
Yes.
I want a relationship where if there's issues or there's problem or there's something that we need to talk about, we come and discuss it. Now, let me be honest with you. There haven't been those times where me and my husband have discussed issues like that. We've had arguments. And I've told him, babe, I've come to him and say, babe, let's look at this. Are we doing what we said we didn't want to see in our marriage?
And that, and let me hold that right there, because that was tough for me.
Yeah.
And how to fix that, because I'm already angry.
Yes.
I'm already upset with things that happened in my life, happened in my childhood, losing my father early.
Yeah.
So a lot of that was in our relationship early.
Right.
And there's no manual on marriage.
No.
Right?
No.
There's no husband manual, there's no wife manual. It's just, you better want to fix this thing.
Right.
And that was our thing, is that I had to see that I was, for lack of a better word, I was the cancer in the marriage. Now, we both had our thing.
Right.
We both did our thing. But I had to understand that I was bringing unnecessary anger, bitterness, and baggage into the relationship. And I had never been married before.
Right.
You had been married before. You had been through some traumatizing things, you and your daughter. But here it is, I'm bringing my load of anger.
Right. That's the point.
And you were bringing in some of your stuff.
Right.
And that stuff was clashing.
Right.
And we had to back up if we wanted it.
If you
Love has to want it.
Right.
If we wanted this thing to be real, if we wanted this thing to be to last, we had to say, okay, you know what? I've got to own up to what I'm bringing.
Right.
That's negative.
It's something that we said earlier. You treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There don't have to be a manual on knowing how to be married. We should already know the common value of, I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated.
Yes.
And when we bring these baggages and all of this stuff into the marriage and we do not fix that, then again, everything begins to snowball.
Yes.
And it gets out of hand. And we get to a place where, I know for us as women, and I have to say this, we stop talking. When we feel like we're not being heard, we stop talking.
Y'all shut down.
We shut down. Yeah. And I'm going to tell any man, when a woman stops talking and she shuts down, you better stop what you're doing. I don't care if you're in the middle of eating a steak dinner.
Right. I think it was R. Kelly that wrote a song about that, when a woman's fed up.
It's nothing you can do. I can tell you the truth. Yeah. I lived that. Yeah. There's nothing you can do. When a woman, a real woman, a good woman, when she gives you everything she has, love in her heart, show you, do the things for you, telling you, and it's not reciprocated. And fellas, after a while, she is out of there. Fellas, she's in the house with you and she's out of there.
Fellas, everything shuts down. Everything shut down.
Everything.
Hey, this is a beautiful woman, grown woman right here. Take it from me. When she is not getting love reciprocated back to her the way that she gave it, she will shut down mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically, sexually. Everything is on drought mode.
Why? Because everything comes from here.
Right. For women, it's all wired.
It's all wired
mentally and emotionally.
Right. When we feel like we've been attacked or hurt or what have you, what can we give you until that is taken care of? It is important that we fix it. We women have to have that taken care of, fixed. Let's deal with what happened, why it happened. And then once we deal with it and we realize what it was, we fix it and we leave it. We take care of it. That's what I want to say. We take care of it. If we do not take care of it, it's not that we're trying to say, oh, I don't want to be with you. But at that time, you don't look good to me. Right. I'm about ready to roll a car over you.
Right.
You know, I'm about ready
That's
to
real.
do something because I'm like, how many times have we talked about this? Or how many times do we have to go through this? Women, we want peace. Right. Men, I know men that want peace too. But if we want peace, we want genuine love. And what my husband see from me is, regardless if you don't want to do this or not, you're going to do it with me.
Yes.
We're going to do this thing together because you said you're in this thing for life until God calls us home.
And the thing of it is, here again, getting back to what love is, I gave you my vows
That's important to me.
You did. I gave you my vows. I wrote. See, we wrote our own vows. We wrote our own didn't vows. Do the traditional. Do you take this woman to be? No. I gave you. I wrote out my vows to you on a beach in Hawaii before God and that minister, and I said, "This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I vowed to do before God."
Yes.
Right?
That's important.
That's you. If it's important to you, how much you think it is to me?
Right.
Because I have to live up to that responsibility of those vows that I made to you.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? That's important to me.
Right.
That's important that I keep my word. That's important. But see, I didn't understand that early on in our marriage. Because again, I didn't have the manual.
Right.
Right? And I didn't have the model. The model usually comes from our parents. Right. It usually comes from the marriages that we see in our community or that are around us.
Right.
So when we don't have the model, we don't have a manual.
Right.
Then what are we learning from?
But we
mistakes.
Remember, we're 13 years apart in age.
Right.
The model you had is me.
Yes.
Because I was showing you. I've been showing you.
Yeah.
I've been telling you.
But you know what? You know that was frustrating, and I'm gonna tell you why that was frustrating. Because it's hard for a man to get the correction from the one. you dig what I'm saying?
He's talking.
I'm talking. I'm keeping it real. This is living more at the Morgans. We try to live here. It was hard, and plus I'm younger.
You're younger.
I'm younger. I'm immature at that time, so it was hard for me to get the correction.
Right.
And you're giving me the correction, one, because you are older. Two, you had been through a marriage before, and you knew that, this feels like what I've been through before, and I ain't having that.
Yeah, somewhat, yeah.
Somewhat, right. And so you knew to give that correction by saying, well, babe, I'm seeing this.
Right.
Or this is looking familiar to me, and it doesn't have to be this way.
Right.
And it was hard for me to take that because I mean, early on in our relationship, I was like, well, I ain't him.
Yeah.
That used to be my comeback. I ain't him.
That was his big comeback. And I'm like,
I ain't him. So what you treating me like him for?
He didn't do that.
And I didn't understand that. Again, that was age, that was immaturity and stuff. Because again, we ain't got no manual, didn't have the greatest of model, and we learn from mistakes. Why am I sharing that? Because sometimes in order to learn what love is, you had to go through finding out what love isn't.
Right. And that's the reason why a lot of people are separated and divorced. Right. They didn't learn it the first time.
Right.
And then once they did learn it, they're like, wait a minute, I got it.
Right.
Well, you got it? Good. Give it to somebody else. I'm out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You don't want to learn the mistake when it's too late.
Right.
You want to get that mistake. If you love that person, you want to learn that mistake. You want to say, let me learn this now, because I don't want to jeopardize what I have.
And that was the thing with me. It's like I genuinely did not want to lose you.
Same here.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
I did not want to lose my wife.
Right.
Because I love my wife. I love my family. And I did not want to be a statistic. I did not want to be one of these Christian statistics where, they got together and they traded vows and they was together for 2-3 years and they out.
Right.
I didn't want that, man. I didn't want to carry that.
Right.
That stigma, because that would have been a stench on me for like forever.
Right.
And so I just didn't want that. I wanted family. I've been wanting to be married since I was 16.
Yeah.
Now, here's the difference between that.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to be married when I was 16. But did I understand what a marriage was at 16? I didn't understand what a marriage was at 26. I didn't understand what a marriage was when I got married at 30, in my 30s. Now, I'm at a point now in my life, in my maturation with God and with my wife, that I'm understanding how my love for her has to be more expressive. Because again, I had to learn what love isn't. Right? If you don't have the model and you don't have the manual, your learning most likely is going to come from mistakes. Yeah. Right? I thank God, I'm going somewhere, you guys. I thank God that you had enough love, which comes with patience, That's what I'm getting to.
Yes.
Love is patient.
Yes.
So I thank God that she was patient enough in her love for me to say, I believe in what God put in him. Yes. And I believe in what God is building us up, or what he's building us up to become.
This is so good, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you, baby. I believe enough in him that where I'm willing to be patient.
Yeah.
Do I like it? Doesn't require you to like it.
No.
But it says to endure like a good soldier.
Right.
Just because if I'm sitting in a swamp full of alligators as a military person and I got bullets flying over my head, I've got to endure sitting in that swamp with them gators.
Right.
Because if I leap up, them bullets going to hit me. Yeah. So I've got to endure this thing that I don't like in the situation that I don't necessarily like, and do what? Be patient in it.
Right.
So I can survive this thing.
That's right.
And while you're being patient and while you're praying.
Right.
Because ain't no point in being patient if you're not going to pray.
No.
They got to go hand in hand. They got to be a tandem.
They have to. Women, you have to pray for your husbands.
Right.
Again, they're not like us, okay? They're not. You have to pray for them. You have to pray. And you have to, if everybody remember War Room, remember when the couple was having their issues? Mm-hmm. What she was doing, she was going back to her father, talking to God. He getting on my nerves. He making me sick. I'm tired of this guy. Did you see what he did? Literally, you have to go back to God and say, God, I talked to him. Mm-hmm. This ain't working. Same thing with men. Once you go back to your father, yes, what he does is, and he tells you, and he'll tell you, I had to learn how and when to wait. Sometimes we want to go and pop off. What you know what you just did a few minutes ago? Right. You can't do that no more. Let's talk about this. Okay? I don't want to talk about it right now. I don't care what you don't want. We're going to talk about this right now. Right. No, we can't do that. We have to wait. Wait until he's ready to talk. Mm-hmm. You guys are ready together. And then you come back and you talk about what has happened.
I love that you said that.
Once, because my husband, he processes things.
Oh, yeah.
When he knows he's done something wrong, and I go back and tell him, honey, that was not cool, how you did that. Right. He'll process it. He'll come back. Now, sometimes he don't say he's sorry.
That ain't true.
He doesn't.
That ain't true.
He doesn't. This is living more. He doesn't. I'm telling you now so you'll realize
that's real. That's
real. He doesn't say he's sorry, but he does come back and say, okay, I got what you were saying. I understand.
I'm going to tell you why I don't. Saying sorry. I'm sorry. I said this earlier. An apology is not repentance.
Yes.
Okay. I learned that from our spiritual father.
Right.
I don't care that you say I'm sorry.
Right.
I care that you change.
That's exactly right.
You dig?
That's good.
So when I'm processing, the wires in my head are saying, she doesn't care that I apologize.
This is the truth.
And not repent and change. Because if I come back a week later and I do the same thing,
you can't tell
after
me
I
that.
apologize,
right,
then the apology was null and void.
It really is.
And unnecessary.
That's exactly
because I
right.
didn't change.
That's you. When I tell you, you said a mouthful. Absolutely. If you continue to keep doing the same thing over and over, and you guys have talked about it and addressed it, no, there's no more sorry. Because she's going to say, or he's going to say, no, you mean to do that.
Right.
So again, that isn't love.
And love covers a multitude of sins.
It does. It does.
But here's what love doesn't do. Love doesn't keep tolerating your sin.
No.
Even God don't do that.
No.
Even God reaches a point to where you said, you know what, you're reprobate, and I'm done with it. And
right.
even God said, I will turn
right.
my back on you.
That's right.
How do I know that to be true? Because even Jesus said there's going to be many that say, Lord, Lord, didn't we do this? Didn't we do that? Didn't I have a title? Wasn't I called apostle
right.
this? Wasn't I called prophet this?
Right.
Wasn't I bishop this? And
right.
the Lord's going to say, Pimping, I never knew you.
Right. Even if you were a husband or wife.
Right.
Didn't I do this for my wife, my husband?
Right.
He gonna be
I never knew you.
You didn't do anything. You did more harm and damage.
Exactly.
And bad than you did good.
And so I don't even remember the good. I don't even remember the good that you did.
Right.
Because it was overshadowed by so much of the negative and the bad that you continually did.
Right. Della is on. Thank you, Della, so much for coming on. I just wanted to acknowledge her. And she said something that is so true. Change behavior is the best apology.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely right.
True.
It goes for both men and women. You guys, we cannot continue to keep doing the same thing over and over that is hurting our families or hurting our marriages, and then we keep apologizing. There's no more apology.
I want to check something that Tamika said, and she said, baby, she said, yes, I pray for my husband. But what I have learned is that when I go before the Father, He will show me myself and where I need to change.
He does.
Absolutely.
He does. And that's something that I have to say about me. I'm talking about myself. I'm a physical person.
Right.
I don't like people using harsh words at me. Mm-hmm. He knows this. This is true. I'm a physical person. See, I don't go all that lip back and forth with you. I don't like all that.
She throw bows, y'all. That's what she's saying.
I'm a physical person. I'm a sports person. I'm into sports and fitness and all of that. Yeah, I'm that type of person. Right. I'm like, okay, I done got to the point where I'm sick of you. Now, I don't do that with you. At first, we had those issues. Right. I'm being honest. Mm-hmm. But she's right. God didn't show me you. Yeah. He showed me. You know what he said a lot of times? I got it. You stay true to who I'm creating you to be. Right. I'll take care of that. You continue to be who you are. Right. You continue to work on you. Right. You're absolutely right.
And I love that you said that to me.
Me too.
And
I'm
so
glad
true.
You read that.
Is that when you go before God, usually God is showing you what you ain't doing, or what you need to change and what you need to do better in regards to your spouse.
Yes.
Because you're saying, what God is saying is like, okay, give your spouse to me. Right. I'll work on that joker.
Right.
Or her. But I need you to work on you.
Yeah.
And so, you guys, I want to finish our conversation up for tonight. I know we're kind of running out of some time. But before we do, we're going to take a quick commercial break, you guys. And we're going to be right back on. Don't go anywhere. Again, you can keep sharing if you want to. Please do. Let people know. But don't go anywhere. We're just going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with you.
We'll be right back. Today, people and business owners have a ton of options to choose from. When it comes to web developers, graphic designers, social media marketing, branding, and the list goes on. And that might not be such a good thing. What if there was one company that you and your business could trust that could provide all these services at prices that won't eat up your business capital before it gets off the ground? From logo design, branding, custom website development, hosting, social media marketing, print media design, and more. Infusion does it all under one roof with a team of professionals that are just a phone call away. Infusion Design Solutions, the infusion of exceptional design and affordability. Visit us online at infusion.com.
It doesn't matter what they call you. What matters is what you answer to. Landishere. All right, you guys, and we're back, and you're tuned in to Living More with the Morgans, and we are talking about what love isn't. And we've had a great show tonight, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the evening. But before we do, I want to say thank you to all of the people that were able to tune in tonight.
Yes,
I know we had some technical difficulties, but you guys hung in there with us, those on Facebook, those on Twitter, and on YouTube. And we appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
And if you would, please don't forget to subscribe to our social media pages. Follow us, like us, watch on there. You're going to go back on YouTube on tomorrow, and we'll have the first part that was cut off. We're going to splice it together with this segment, and then we're going to have the whole video available that you can go back on YouTube and watch the replay, and you can share that as well. And so, again, we thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube, and then we'll be on TikTok soon, you guys. And so if you're tuned in to Living More with the Morgans, we definitely appreciate you guys. And so, again, tonight's conversation, what love is, and we shared much about society and what we're seeing in society, and this can be a long conversation because of so many factors that we're seeing. But I want to bring it home. And one of the things that we need to be really mindful about, especially those of us that are of the Christian faith, even our Muslim brothers and sisters, and you know, who are of different faith backgrounds and so forth, a lot of the world's religions are based in love. Right? Buddhism is based in love. You know, a lot of what the world believes, it's centered around love. Why? Because God is love. Whether you believe in Jehovah or Allah or whatever you believe in, we understand that the deity that has created everything that we see, the cosmos, the world, the stars, the galaxies, everything that we see, mankind, the animals, everything that we see, we know was created from love. What does he want to see? When God, there's no mirror that God holds up. When God wants to see himself, he looks at us. And so if God is not seeing love as his reflection, is it his fault? No. It's our fault. The mirror is cracked. It's flawed because we're not showing him his reflection. We're not showing him what he knows he looks like. It's no question to him what he looks like. And so if he's not seeing that reflection, then it's our fault. It's our fault individually, and it's our fault collectively. Why? Because we're one body. And the problem that we're seeing and that the world is seeing is they're not seeing our love for one another. That's how they're going to know that we are truly his and that we belong to him. Not by us shouting, not by us speaking in tongues and dancing and listening to gospel music 24/7. That's not how they're going to see that we belong to him. They're going to see our love first for one another. And then they're going to see our love that we give to people outside of us. We have to ask ourselves this question. We preach about Joseph and how God took Joseph from the prison to the palace. But God used Joseph's light in Egypt. Egypt being the world power at the time.
It was.
I'm going somewhere with this. Egypt being the place where they worshiped different kinds of gods. Amun-Ra and so forth.
Amun-Ra, yes.
Okay. They worshiped in different gods, and they had a totally different belief system than the Israelite people did, the Hebrew people did. Okay. Have we ever stopped to ask ourselves why God did that? Why does God take a young man forsaken by his brothers and his family, sold into slavery with this process that he went through, and he doesn't take him and put him in a sanctuary? He doesn't take him and build Jerusalem with him. He takes him and his gift, and he places him in the highest seat and the world's greatest power at that time. Why does he do that? Because God's level of love looks down the line. God looks generations down, and he sees it in our now.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
So God knew the outcome of things that were to come for that people, for his nation, for his family, ages down the line. Why am I saying that? Because your ugly, dejected send-off of a person can either make or break that lineage. You talked about it earlier, where people are committing suicide.
Yes.
And your words, you being the Bible that they read, could be life or death for that person that you encounter.
That's right. That's right.
And if so, that person could have a lineage that would be great and expansive and awesome.
Right.
But because Joseph is in Egypt with all of these gods and multiple gods and wearing the robes and wearing the head masks and wearing the makeup of the Egyptians and has an Egyptian wife, a black woman, what if there were people from the Canaan land? What if there were people saying, oh, look at him. He
right.
hanging out with them folks. He doing this and this and this and that. Look at him over there in Egypt. That ain't God. Why? If he was really God, he would know. The Pharisees did the same thing to Jesus. They said, if this man were really, quote unquote, a prophet, he would know who this person is and who this person is and who this person is. But Jesus still put himself around people that needed him and his help. Why? Because love does that.
Love does that. Yes,
love
sir.
Does that.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And love doesn't sit there and spew venom and hatred and malice and negativity. It doesn't spew that all in the name of its religion or its belief system.
That's not love.
Joseph was all Hebrew, but God picks him out and puts him into this secular system, this secular world power.
Talk.
Why?
Yeah.
Because God sees further down the line than we see for God. Right now.
That's so good, sir. Yes, sir.
So all of those who are bashing the Beyoncés and bashing the Rihannas and bashing those at the Grammys, you don't see that there's something down the line that God sees further than you do, further than your shout does, further than your huckabuck does, further than your slander on Facebook or your Facebook live posts. It sees further so that it doesn't disrupt the plans of God that he has down the lines. And why does he do it and how does he do it? He does it through love. He does it through love.
Right.
And fam, we got to get back to love for real, because we are seeing today in society, in our relationships, in our marriages, amongst one another. My wife opened the show talking about how mean people are, and I've seen it, and I've seen her come home heavy. I've seen my wife come home from the grocery store, from getting a snack or a burger or something. I've seen her come home heavy just from seeing people be so mean, particularly our people, African American, black folks. We can't speak to one another.
We will not.
We won't even speak to one another. We won't greet one another. If we greet, my wife is jovial. My wife is exuberant. And so when she speaks, it's hello, she's showing all her teeth because she means that thing. But the fact of the matter is that it's being reciprocated with, hey, what's up?
Or nothing.
Or nothing at all. Okay, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
When that's love has to reciprocate, like she said, love is an action. It has to reciprocate itself equivalent, equal,
right.
or better.
Or better. Absolutely.
You can't downgrade love. It has to be equivalent or better.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that we're seeing too many examples today, you guys, of what love isn't.
Right.
And so as we have one more week left in the month of love, in the month of February, let's make a cognizant effort to think about the love that we need to show to one another.
Yes.
That we need to show to outside people.
Right.
That we need to show to unbelievers. Our likes and our hearts on Facebook are not getting God's approval.
No.
Your amen corner back in your Facebook post about Beyonce is not getting God's approval. What he's saying is your light should shine among men everywhere.
Right.
And if it isn't, it's your fault.
Right. We have to extend grace. Why? Grace is extended to us. We have to extend grace to people.
Yes.
We don't know what people are going through. We don't know what people have been through. I've talked to so many people in my lifetime. I can go to a grocery store and people start pouring their hearts out to me if I meet someone. I hugged a lady, I believe, yesterday or today. Yesterday. No, it was today.
Today.
Yeah. I hugged a lady today that was telling me about some things that she was going through in her life. A neighbor who was telling me about some things she was going through in her life. We have to extend that grace.
Yes.
We that are in the body of Christ, we're responsible for it. Again, God is looking at us. And we can't keep talking about the world if we look exactly like the world.
Right.
We're not supposed to.
And remember, we are the Bible that people are going to read.
We are.
And they're not going to read it based on your title or your position.
Right.
They're going to read it black and white.
Right.
Your title to them don't matter. Your position in your church or in your little ministry don't matter.
Even your position in your corporate jobs.
Even your corporate, your corporate job, the money that you're making, none of that matters.
No.
If somebody needs a paramedic, they're not asking, okay, is the paramedic black?
Right.
Or is the paramedic white?
Right.
Or do they live in South Dallas, or they come from South Dallas, or they come from Highland Park? They're not asking none of that. No. They're asking, can you help me with the situation that I'm in today? Yeah. Just make sure that people are reading the right book.
That's right.
They're reading the book of love.
That's right.
And that's what we should always be reflecting.
That's right.
Is love. Because right now, we really need to answer the question, what is love?
Right.
Because right now we're seeing a lot of what love isn't.
Yeah.
You guys, we love you guys. Thank you again for tuning in to Living More with the Morgans.
Thank you.
Please, tomorrow on our YouTube channel, go there. We're going to have the full video from both segments, and we're going to put that together, and you'll be able to share this on your wall, share it on all your social media platforms. Go back to YouTube and subscribe there if you're not already a subscriber. Be on our Facebook page. Make sure that you join our Facebook page on Twitter and on Instagram as well. Until then, you guys have a great week. We'll see you back next Tuesday night on Living More with the Morgans, 8:30 p.m. Central. We love you guys.
We love you guys. Have a good night.